What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to Red Seat Radio. My name is Corbin, and before we get into the video today, I do want to remind you that we are going to be live on this channel tonight at 7 p.m. Eastern. We're going to be talking about really everything that's gone down with the Red Sox over the last couple of weeks, because we have not done a live stream in 2 weeks, so we have a lot to break down. These are a ton of fun. I highly suggest you guys stopping on by. Again, that is tonight, 7 p.m. Eastern time on this channel. Anyways, the Red Sox needed to make room for Adam Duvall on this 40-man roster. You can't make it official until he's put onto this roster. We knew that. I think most of us kind of assumed that that move was going to come via a trade to make room on this roster, and it still could possibly happen, but that's not the decision the Red Sox have made so far. Instead, they decided to DFA someone from this 40-man roster, and who they DFA'd is actually pretty surprising, especially when you consider the other DFA candidates on this Red Sox team. So what we're going to do in today's video is break down this roster move. We're going to talk about the actual move itself. We're going to talk about why it's surprising and why it may make sense, and we're going to ultimately try and decide if this was a good or bad decision by this Red Sox team. But before we get into that, do me a favor, make sure you guys have hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. If you're new here, we talk Red Sox content almost every single day. Also, make sure you guys have hit the like button on this video as well. Helps these videos out a ton, and it would mean a lot to me. Thank you all very much for clicking on this one. Let's get into it. So we should probably start with the actual move itself, huh? This is how it went down yesterday. I was out running some errands. I came back, my phone was blowing up. I thought the Red Sox had made a trade to announce Adam Duvall, but that was not the case. Instead, the Red Sox did announce that Adam Duvall was officially signed and was officially on the roster. And to make room for Adam Duvall, the Red Sox DFA'd right-handed reliever Matt Barnes. Now, Matt Barnes has had a bit of a rocky road with the Red Sox in the last couple of years. In 2021, in the first half, he was our all-star closer. He was one of the best pitchers in all of baseball. In the second half of 2021, after he came back from the IL, it was a completely different story. It looked like he had lost his touch and he was a completely different pitcher. Going into 2022, hopes were a little bit high that he would regain some of that momentum, but in the first half of 2022, he really struggled. He finished the first half of 2022 with a 7.94 ERA, an opponent batting average of 258, and 15 earned runs in just 17 innings. It looked like that was the Matt Barnes we were going to get for a while. He also got injured in the first half of 2022 and spent a really long time on the IL. When he came back from the IL, though, things were a little bit different, and he finished the year really strong. He finished the second half of 2022 with just a 1.59 ERA, 20 strikeouts in 22 innings, and an opponent batting average that fell from that 258 to just 226. He looked like a completely different pitcher. Was he the all-star pitcher that we saw in 2021, one of the best closers in baseball? No, but he was a serviceable, pretty decent and reliable arm in the second half of 2022. On top of that too, Matt Barnes has been with the club since 2014, and everything I've heard about Matt Barnes, both on the field and off the field in the clubhouse, has been that he is a great, wholesome guy. He's a nice person to be around, and he's a fantastic personality in that Red Sox clubhouse, which is why this DFA is kind of shocking to me, especially when you consider who else could have been on that DFA list. Ryan Brazier somehow made it through another DFA session, which at this point, I don't know whether to be shocked or just impressed that the Red Sox are hedging their bet so hard on Ryan Brazier. In fact, Chaim Bloom talked about this in his press conference to announce Adam Duvall. He was asked why a guy like Ryan Brazier wasn't on the DFA list, and he had a couple of things to say. First thing he said is that Ryan Brazier's projections for 2023 look really strong, and they look much better than what Matt Barnes was projecting. The second thing that he said about Ryan Brazier was that he finished the year really strong, and just in general, he and all the other young pitchers in this Red Sox system have promising upside. And I don't know if I fully agree with that, because in 2022, Ryan Brazier's first half statistics were a 5.4 ERA, and in the second half of 2022, he didn't get any better. In fact, he got worse. He finished 2022 in the second half with a 6.26 ERA, and clearly the Red Sox see something in Brazier, because I simply don't see it just based on that simple ERA statistic alone. However, he did finish the year in September and October with an ERA of just 2.25. So in all fairness to Chaim Bloom, he did finish the year strong, but by the time we got to September and October last year in 2022, this season was very far down the drain, and there wasn't a ton of pressure on anyone anyone to really do a super good job. So maybe that had something to do with it as well. There wasn't a ton of pressure situations for Ryan Brazier, and maybe that's why his ERA was so good in the last couple of months of the season. But personally, again, if I'm looking at this and I am in charge of this Red Sox roster, if I'm going to place my bet on either Matt Barnes second half or Ryan Brazier's second half going into 2023, being able to bounce back and continue that momentum, I'm placing my bet on Matt Barnes. But again, at this point, all I can say about Ryan Brazier still being on this Red Sox team is that A, I'm impressed that he has made it so far, and B, I gotta respect the fact that the Red Sox think that this guy can be good, and they are placing all of their bets on Ryan Brazier being good, having DFA'd Darwinzon Hernandez, Matt Barnes, and there was another pitcher that I completely forget his name, but he was DFA'd as well over Ryan Brazier going into 2023. Caleb Ort was probably the other DFA candidate on this Red Sox team, and again, he had a little bit of a tough year in 2022 as well. He finished the year with a 5.35 ERA and a little bit of a lower FIP in 2022 at 4.84, so there was some unluckiness with Caleb Ort, and he was kind of put into some really interesting situations, especially late in games, mostly because the Red Sox bullpen depth was just so bad in 2022. So maybe there's something there with Caleb Ort. But again, if you're looking at strictly statistics alone, second half, first half, stuff like that, and you're trying to place a bet on who is going to be able to bounce back and use that momentum of finishing 2022 strong and bring it into 2023, Caleb Ort or Matt Barnes, I gotta go Matt Barnes again. So to me, this move doesn't make a ton of sense in terms of just straight DFAing him. Now, there could be a reason for the DFA, and the biggest reason is because for the next week, the Red Sox have the opportunity to be able to trade Matt Barnes. Now, this would help a lot. This would mean that the Red Sox don't have to eat Matt Barnes' salary, which is right around $7 million for 2023. They are able to clear a roster spot without straight losing a guy, and they get something in return, and they can add that salary that Matt Barnes has. Whether or not they take on some of that salary is yet to be known, but they can use at least some of that salary space to go out into free agency, maybe get a solid left-handed reliever, maybe get a solid right-handed reliever, replace Matt Barnes with someone more consistent in the bullpen, and it could end up working out. There is also a really, really small chance that Matt Barnes does not get traded and waives his right to go to another team and ends up in the Red Sox minor league system, but I really don't see that happening. So best case scenario with this, and in my opinion, the only reason that the Red Sox would DFA Matt Barnes at this point is if they expect a trade to happen. And he has been gaining some interest according to multiple sources. There are teams out there who are interested in a trade for Matt Barnes. So this could be something that we see in the next couple of days, and I wouldn't be shocked if we see it at all. It truly is, in my opinion, the only reason why Matt Barnes was DFA'd over guys like Caleb Ort and Ryan Brazier. Nothing against those two, but I just think, again, if you're placing your bet on one of these guys to have a bounce back season, I'm going with Matt Barnes over both of them, and maybe that's why they ended up DFAing him, because he's worth more in trade value, probably also along with the fact that he's got some money attached to him. At the end of the day though, all in all, I feel bad for Matt Barnes. There were times last year and over the last couple of years that I didn't want Matt Barnes on this team. I would have loved a DFA. There were times where he just simply was not good, but there were also times where it felt like he was overused, driven into the ground, overexposed a little bit, and it really hurt his ability to be an effective pitcher. There were also times where he was injured. You could tell he was injured and battling through it. So there was a ton of ups and downs with Matt Barnes. But again, like I said, everything I've heard is that Matt Barnes is a genuinely nice person and a good guy to be around. So at the end of the day, I hope wherever he lands on his feet and does a good job there as well. For the Red Sox sake, I truly hope that they can figure out a trade and they do not end up just eating his salary for 2023. But I really don't expect that to happen. So keep your eye out on a trade video coming up soon. Let me know in the comment section down below. What do you think of this Matt Barnes stuff? What do you think of the roster move? What do you think of him being chosen over Ryan Brazier, over Caleb Ort, over some of these other guys who were on the DFA list? Let me know all your thoughts on this DFA roster move down below. As always, if you made it to the end of this video, do me a favor, make sure you guys have hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. Like I said at the beginning, if you're new here, we talk Red Sox content almost every single day. Plus, you made it to the end here, you might as well hit that sub button. Also, make sure you guys hit the like button on this video as well. Helps these videos out a ton, and it would mean a lot to me. Thank you all very much for clicking on this one, and I will see you tonight at 7 p.m. Eastern time on this channel and in the Red Seat.